In this video, let's use everything we've learned so far. We've learned how to use sequencer, and we've learned a lot of coding concepts or blueprinting concepts in Unreal. Let's put those all together and let's make a door that opens when we go near a button and we press a use key. This could be any key. I'm going to use the F key probably, but the point is let's go and make an actor that lets us go near it. We press the use key and then it opens. Now, I do want to note there are so many ways of doing this. This video is going to go over just one of those ways. And as with anything that we learn in this class, I'm not usually showing you the best way to approach something. I'm showing you something that's simple and serviceable. For those of you that are going to be gameplay programmers, as you go along this journey, you will find much more better ways that are more modular. They allow for more change to do all of these things. But it's good to get a tool set going, and this is again a very simple way to do this. I just want you to keep that in mind. So to start, let us take this sequence that we have. I can open up the sequence by finding it in the level and then opening level sequence. And right now our sequence has like camera cuts to it. It's got all this explosions, these ducks are moving. I don't want any of that anymore, so I'm just going to go ahead and delete everything one by one. And I'm also going to go ahead and delete a bunch of stuff from the level. We can keep the door. And yeah, we have deleted everything else. I'll just delete the fire as well. Okay, so now what I have here is just these doors opening because that's all I want. When I press a button, these doors need to open. We can also go ahead in our level blueprint, and for now, let us get rid of this code as well. So we can get rid of this trigger box. Awesome. So now we've set up this level. Really, again, you'll have your own level set up. I've just set this level up so that all we have now is this one sequencer that opens this door. That's all I have. So now let's get to getting this to function with a so-called quote-unquote button that we can go near, press a button, or press a key on our keyboard and have this door open. So to start, I'm going to do everything in the level. This is one time right now. I'm not going to be using an actor class. Instead, I'm just going to be doing things straight in the level. The reason for this is simplicity. Later on in the quarter, when we learn about interfaces, you'll realize that there is a way to do this using actor classes, and preferably that is how you'd want to do it, because in the way we're going to do it, if I wanted to make another door, I would have to make another sequencer, make new door assets, move them there, move the button where I need it. But later on when we learn interfaces, you'll see that we could just make a door, a button, and then we can connect as many doors to buttons as we want modularly. Again, a big point with gameplay programming is, as the gameplay programmer, we want to give these tools to our level designer and make them as modular as possible. Just like you guys have modular assets, that level designers and artists, level set dressers and stuff will use to put together more complex things. Gameplay programmers, we want to create modular gameplay kits for our level designers to come in and do these things. We saw a small look of that when we did the bouncy pad. We made the jump velocity a variable that people can edit, so that that lets our level designers have the control. We don't decide for them. I just want to keep that in mind as we go along with this. So to start, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use these shapes to just kind of build out something that I would consider a button that is going to be pressed. So if you can imagine, this would be the little post that the button's on. Let's give everything in material so they don't look quite as boring. We'll make it cobblestone. And let's put another cube on it. So this represents the button itself. So when the player presses the button, I want the button to move inwards, and I want this door to open. So let's think about the logic for this a little bit. What I want is the player to be near the button, and then they have to press a key. They can't just press the key wherever they are. They have to be near the button, right? And one way of knowing if our player is near something or not is using an overlap event. So We'll go back to basic and let us add a trigger box in here. Okay, so let's just check if this trigger box works just fine. Let me open up the level blueprint. And just like I did last time, make sure the trigger box is selected. We're going to come over here, add an event, add a collision event, and on actor begin overlap. I am also at the same time just going to add an end overlap. And we're going to do the thing we always do, check if it has a tag, make a branch. And if it does, for now, let's just print a string. I'm going to print overlap. I'm just going to copy and paste this. Actually, before I do that, make sure we write down what the tag is. The tag is player. Copy and paste this. And do it with the other one. And instead of overlap, I'm going to say ended overlap. And let's just call this one begin overlap. Now when I run the level, when I go in here, it begins overlap. When I leave, it ends overlap. So just like in an actor, the level blueprint works fairly similarly. Now this button's a little too high for me. I just noticed that when we played it. So I'm just going to move everything a tad lower. See if this looks right. Okay, this looks way more sizable for us. Cool. So now we know when our actor is near this object. Oops. The other thing we need to do is get the input of the player. I said when they hit a key. The way we have done input so far is more or less the correct way. It's an old way in Unreal now, but it is still more or less the correct way. And that was in our project settings, we went to input and we set our inputs here. For this, I'm not going to do that. Instead, I'm just going to use a keyboard event that is already a blueprint node. So if I search keyboard event, you can see all our keyboard keys are here. I really want the F key, so I'm just going to search F and add that in. You could do this in an event. I'm just doing this here again because we're just doing everything in the level. This isn't quite the proper way of doing it. This is just a way. It's a very quick way and a simple way. So here, we can also use our print strings here. Say F pressed, F released, just to make sure these work in our level. And F is pressed, F is released. So, okay, cool. My inputs also work. So now let's think about the logic that we want. What we want is when our player is overlapping with this button, we want to set some value to true that symbolizes that they are that they are overlapping with the box, that they're near it to actually press the box. We can do that with a variable. So I'm going to make a variable. I'm going to call it is touching button. And this variable is going to represent if our player is touching the button or not. And we can set this variable. So on actor begin overlap, when we're near the box, we can set is touching button to true. And then on actor end overlap, so if they leave where the button is, we can set it to false. Now, when we press our F key, instead of just doing something, we can branch it. We can see if we are touching the button. If we aren't touching the button, we don't want to do anything. If we are touching the button, let's again print string. Best way to like test things as we go along. That's not print string. We can print string, you press the button. So now we compile it. And when we run it, I'm spamming the F key. It's not printing anything. But if I go near here and I spam the F key, you press the button. If I go away from it, nothing. So that logic works, right? The simplest thing now we can do is instead of doing that, we can come here, get a reference to our sequencer, and play sequence. So now Come here. And we can see our door opens. Our player now has access to this area. Usually these kind of doors, you'd only want them open once. But you'll see if I come here and I hit F again, our animation plays again. In this case, this is not something I want. I want my door to just stay open. So very simple way to do that. I'm just going to do once. That is a special node in Unreal under flow control. And all this will do is make sure this function after this runs only one time until this reset is called. So let me just show you that in action. I'm going to come here, open the door. It opens. Before, if I came here and I hit F again, it'll start the animation again, but now I'm spamming F. And you can see the animation isn't playing. And that do once node is being respected. It's never going to play that node again until we run the reset function. Real quick, you guys don't have to do this, but I just want to show you what this reset function does. And to do that, I'm going to add a delay node here. Let's delay it by 5 seconds. And on completed, let's just print a string saying this delay is completed. So we know that the delay is complete. And I will make a custom event. I'm going to call this reset door. Well, it's really resetting this do once. And I'm going to set that to this reset. And after our 5-second delay, I'm just going to call this reset. Oops. I'm just going to call this reset door event. So we're going to only do this door play once. It's not going to work for 5 seconds because after 5 seconds, we're going to fire this reset pin that should let us do the do once again. This is, again, just to get an idea of what do once does. Let's come here. Let's run it. I'm spamming the F key. It didn't work there. Let's wait for 5 seconds. Delay complete. Why did that not work? Okay, I'm not too sure why that didn't work the first time. I think Unreal just glitched out. But let's just take a look at that again. Door opens. It says delay complete. I can come back here, and when I hit F, it should work. There you go. I'm not too sure what's wrong with my Unreal. When you guys try it, this should work just fine. I think my computer is just a bit laggy. But again, you can see that that's what this do once does. It just runs the thing once until we run this reset function. We don't need this for my door. I just wanted to illustrate that point. Finally, just to make things a little nicer, when they press the door button, I just want my door button thing to go inwards, kind of represent that as an animation. And we can just use the same sequencer we have here to do that. I'm going to drag this in here and animate the transform. So it's 0 seconds is where it is. Maybe 2 seconds in, this button goes in there. And this is, again, going to give the player some feedback that something has happened. Let's try that again, except let's try it with the world coordinates. 2 seconds in, we move it in, and we do that. Awesome. So let's just see if this works. Now there's a little more feedback to it. I press the button, it goes in. That tells my player that they got to look somewhere else. And this door is opening. It opens up. We can continue playing the game. So this has been a real simple way to add these door buttons. Actually, before I stop this video, just to remind you guys, I just want to show you this again. This door button goes in. It stays closed. Our doors open up. And this button pops back up. So don't forget, when we want things to stay where they are, right click on the track, properties, when finished, keep state. That was just a quick thing I noticed. I just want to remind you that. Now when we play this, for example, we can see that it will stay closed when this animation finishes. And there you go. It's not going to pop out again. We can continue playing our game without worrying about that. Anyway, that has been a quick look and a very, very simple way to achieve doors in our game, opening doors. I'm going to make another quick video where we can go through opening a door only if our player has a certain score. So that'll be the next video, and that should also be fairly quick. But just remember, this is one way of doing this. This is the simplest way of doing this, and I would not call this the most correct way of doing this. But thank you for watching.